I want to talk about Joe the Plumber. Joe the Plumber has not come up on this show for a while. Joe the Plumber is a big anti-union guy. Joe the Plumber campaigned on being self-sufficient and paying less taxes and businesses really being independent and doing what they want to do. Now, unfortunately, it turned out Joe the Plumber, number one, wasn't actually a licensed plumber. And number two, didn't have a plumbing business that profited $250,000 a year. Those things weren't true. The basis under which Joe the Plumber became known, being a plumber and having a plumbing business, was a lie. It was all a lie. However, he was still somehow the darling of the John McCain campaign in 2008 when he lost to President Obama. The latest news, which Nephi sent to me, it's written about in the Toledo Blade and on Daily Kos, is that Joe the Plumber, anti-union Joe the Plumber, has now taken a union job at Chrysler. Joe the Plumber, whose real name is Samuel Wurzelbacher, had to get a job that involves something other than pretending to be this blue-collar Republican speaking guy who's just on the cusp of buying that $250,000 plumbing business. He now is going to be working at Chrysler, which of course is a United Auto Workers union job. He got very, very defensive on Facebook about why he's taking a union job, even though it violates all of his principles. He said, hey, in order to work for Chrysler, you are required to join the union, in this case, the UAW. There's no choice. It's a union shop. The employees voted to have it that way, and in America, that's the way it is, which is just such a pathetic hedge. Number one, it's not true that you have to be in the union. You have to pay your union dues, but you don't actually have to join the union. So if he really wanted to, he could say, listen, the voters voted, the workers voted that we have to pay the dues, but I am against unions. I want nothing to do with the union, and I'm staying out of the union. I'm refusing their representation. He's not doing that, Lewis.
Right. Yeah, of course. He knows that there are benefits to being in the union. And I mean, why wouldn't you in this specific situation?
He also hedged further by saying, hey, you know what? Private unions like the UAW, that's a choice between employees and employers. If that's what they want, then who am I to say you can't have it? As opposed to public unions, right? Somehow this whole, who am I to say I'm just Joe the Plumber thing, that wasn't flying when he was on the campaign trail for John McCain. He wasn't taking any of this. Who am I to say what other people should do? He was taking a very different approach, saying, I am the guy to say what other people should do. So that's changed completely. You know what, though? I think if you actually ask him and just honestly have a conversation with him where he's not worried about who will report it, he's probably grateful to have a union job right now.
They're probably grateful to have a job in general, I would say.
Maybe the explanation is this, Lewis. Obama's economy is so bad that I had to take a job that was a union job because of the socialist conspiracy created by President Obama.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. But, I kind of feel bad for Joe the Plumber. Ever since 2008, it's just been one embarrassment after another.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. The most embarrassing thing was that if your name's Joe the Plumber, you should be a licensed plumber. That's just a fundamental thing. Let's take a break. We will talk spanking next. It's not what you think. Lewis, trust me, it's not what you think. Don't get yourself all worked up. And then we'll also have some of your voicemails.